Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. How you guys going out there? And would you look at this? It's a match made in heaven. Shorty and SuperCoach Jords. How are you, mate?
Good, Shorty. Highly requested, might I add.
Yeah,
So yeah, good
yeah,
to. It's
exactly.
been a while. I haven't spoken to you. But yeah, obviously watch each other's channel, so kind of
Mm.
know each other in that sense. But yeah, good to speak to you, mate.
Yeah, likewise, mate. It's definitely been a highly requested one, so it's good to chat and get stuck into it. And definitely, it's sort of funny. We were saying just before, sort of feel like we know each other via YouTube, but actually this is, we've actually been talking for about 20 or 30 minutes in total. So
Yeah,
it's nice to finally chat. But yeah, I thought it'd be good today to, just have a casual catch up and sort of talk, obviously, all things super coach, but even, off the top, we'll talk a bit of YouTube and our journeys through there and that type of thing. And just, yeah, open the floor to any sort of questions. I know you put the word out to Discord just before we jumped on board, so we'll see what can flow through there. But yeah, I'm happy to just flow nice and freely through this one, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. And it's nice to finally get stuck into it. But yeah, I guess first things first. What made you sort of get into the YouTube channel, mate? Where did that all sort of start?
I reckon it's been. I think 2017. I started one, made a team, did bad, gave up. 2018 fluked into a good rank round one and started from there. So I didn't really expect to do consistent uploading. Just got a little bit of traction early. It's probably just me and you doing it really.
Mm.
So got in early, which was good. So I think this is. I think I've said this somewhere on my channel before, but when I was at uni, and one of our teachers was like, one of the problems with the world, or specifically Adelaide as well, why we're economically behind Melbourne and whatnot, is people tend to consume more than they create. So if the world created more than they consumed, it'd be a much better place. So I decided, well, I like Supercoach. I'll give
Mm.
it a crack, create something for someone, for other people, and yeah, found it interesting. So probably if I didn't go to that uni tutorial, probably wouldn't be here. So
Yeah,
interesting
it's a
how
good thing you
things.
did.
Yeah. So but yeah, I haven't looked back and enjoy it. And I think you were in a little bit before me. So how did you come about?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good point you raised. Like for a while there, it was mainly just me and you, and there's definitely a lot more content and channels out there now, which is great. The YouTube community's definitely grown a lot for Supercoach. But I did sort of sports journalism for a while there. I was sort of not doing it as much now, bit of a change in direction. But at the time, I was really interested in radio. Sort of dabbled in that, so I thought I love my footy. I want to like do radio one day, a young fella, with some dreams. And I thought this might be just a good way to practice, get a bit more confident. Because originally I just did a podcast style of channel, even though it was YouTube, it was my face didn't appear for a couple of years, really, aside from a screenshot or two. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it. And has definitely grown a lot since. Which I've been really pleased about. So yeah, I definitely didn't anticipate probably it going as long as it has, but it did just sort of grow and grow and grow. So yeah, yeah. Did you sort of when you first started, like, are you kind of were you surprised at how well it took off? Like you probably didn't anticipate. It's been so well received.
It depends, I guess, how you think. Well, at the time, it was getting. I think the first few vids was getting 100 to 200, and then the round started. I figured once you post the team, that's when you get all the views.
Yeah.
So I kept posting my team, and then people just commented on it and whatnot. So I think I only would have been in the 500s in the first year. I think it would have been less than that. So that was a big deal for me, and
Yeah.
and that was with the best videos. So kind of every year, it kind of steadily grows. If you figure every time you post a video, your sub count goes up a little bit. So I just kept posting more and more, and it's because it's YouTube or because it's SuperCoach, it's small compared to the scale of what other things can do. So you get
Mm.
a bit of slow growth. But yeah, just keep slowly growing, and yeah, it just comes naturally because I just like posting videos anyway. So yeah, I'm happy. I'd love for SuperCoach to be a bigger game to get, you know, grow a bigger community, more people doing YouTube, but still got a healthy amount at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It is a bit of a slow burn on the old YouTube, but it does seem like there's a really solid following out there of people that do like to, consume it on the old YouTube style. But do you have a favourite type of video that you do? I mean, I know you mentioned, the team videos, they go off, don't they? People, any chance they get to see someone's team, they love it. So they're always the most popular. But do you have a style of video that you really prefer doing, like personally for you?
I like the end of team reviews on a Sunday night, I think, or Monday night. They're definitely my favourite because then you can just express your thoughts. It's a bit fresh. It's, your player didn't do as well as you think you did. You get, wouldn't say too emotional over it, but you get like, here we go. Like, as if I didn't see this coming. So a bit like that. And yeah, it's definitely the most fun video, I think. So those sorts of videos, definitely the review ones. Podcast is always good, interacting with others. Get a not only is good company, but you get a different view on the game. It makes you think a bit differently rather than outside your own head. So yeah, probably those two, probably my favorite. What about yours? Any preferences?
Yeah, I do like the old press conference on a Sunday night after, you can be either really pleased with how you went or, like you said, some raw emotions of often frustration for me last year. But no, I probably enjoy diving into the laptop and just, going through line by line and sort of those more longer style of videos. Like, they're not everyone's cup of tea, but get the timestamps out and just really dive into it, because personally I like listening to longer style things when I'm sort of driving around in the car and that. And I've been doing quite a few live streams as well, sort of trying to do one each week. So they're always a bit of fun. You talk your SuperCoach seriously at times, but you always get a few funny buggers in there with a few jokes or trying to trip me up with a couple of funny names here and there. So they've got me a couple of times, mind you. But yeah, I quite enjoy those. So no, it's a bit of fun. But like you say, whenever you got someone else to bounce off, it's always way better because, we both do a lot of videos where it's, just us talking to ourselves, viewing our, sharing our views. So it's always good to have someone else to kind of bounce the ideas off, which is great. So
I must say, I was surprised that you're not doing this video from your car today. I do like the idea of like doing it, just expressing your thoughts very freely in the car. You got nature out the window, hair, the breeze blowing through your hair. Like, you still got hair. Mine's nearly finished.
I'm hanging on for dear life, mate. I'm telling you, it's going. It's going. But yeah, no. For a while there, I just doing them in the car all the time.
Yeah. So I think, I do. You can appreciate those sort of videos, just more freely and just good vibe and that sort of thing. So I'm definitely a big fan of those.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And speaking of sharing a few thoughts, I thought it'd be great if we dived into some SuperCoach stuff, of course. So yeah, we're thinking we might just run through line by line and just chat about a couple of the talking points that are rolling around at the moment, and maybe we might dabble in a selection that's really lighting our fire at the moment and we're enjoying. So I guess down back, how are you sort of feeling at the moment? I feel like the defensive line's probably the most stressful at the moment, just with the lack of rookies. And I know a lot of people are talking George Hewitt and what do I have to do in terms of structures? So how are you feeling about that?
Defense is the real struggle, I think, this year. I don't know what rookies we get. It's sort of, I think usually in the first week leading up to the footy or round one, we get a few debutants named. The club will announce them. So I think it's very much waiting to see if they get named and then can kind of fill it out from there. But yeah, I'm really struggling because I think a lot of players are fair priced. I love Lockie Whitfield, but am I going to have to trade him out again like I always do? So I have him at the moment, but I always worry a little bit about him. But yeah, I think there's, I like Lloyd and Jack Crisp, but they're just very expensive, and you're trying to pay up for the big midfielders makes it very hard to sort of allocate your money. So I like I think I like Jack Crisp this year. Bit more midfield time, score, but he kind of floats back to halfback a lot, even from after attending a centre bounce, which is kind of nice because he scores well off halfback. So I don't mind Crisp. He's in my team at the moment, but hopefully he stays. See how we go. Hopefully I don't get cold feet. But yeah, I think there's a lot of safe options, but there's not a lot of, apart from maybe Whitfield and potentially George Hewitt, nothing that's screaming extreme value. So you've got to pay a fair price for a lot of these blokes. So how do you feel about the back line? Are you struggling with, how many to run or any specific players you like in particular?
Yeah, well, speaking of cold feet, I'm maybe getting a little bit of cold feet on James Sicily. Not to sort of doubt him too much, but I'm sort of really trying to work in Jaden Short to my side at the moment. I'm really liking the way he's going about it down back and sort of the numbers when Hooley's not in the team and how he improves there so much. So I was pretty keen to see how Jordan Dawson would go through the Pracky game. So I was disappointed to not get a look at him. But at the moment, I've had a couple of poor seasons, mate. There's no doubting that. So I am trying to avoid the mid-price option if I can. So, people are sort of talking about, your George Hewitts, even Heath Chapman's getting a little bit of excitement about him. And a few people were talking Nick Blakey in my live stream tonight and that type of thing. I'm attempting to not get seduced by any mid-price madness because, I agree. Crisp, Lloyd, you got Short, you got Whitfield. We can back pretty deep with those primos down back, which we might need to do because the rookies are looking pretty slim at the moment.
Yes, I agree. I can see myself picking George Hewitt. Could it be a trap? Potentially. I think he looked really good in the midfield. I think they really like him. They really rate him. And he actually averaged 96 in the midfield last year when they played him there in the back half. So there's a little bit of provenness there. And as for Heath Chapman, I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm thinking about it because I'm trying to fill out the back line while not killing my midfield or forward line. So it's the dilemma we face at the moment. It's pretty tough. But yeah, I agree. I think, if you went with a Lloyd, Crisp, Whitfield and Short, you can't really go wrong, I don't think. And that's kind of what you want, sleep easy at night, knowing that don't have to stress watching a player that you don't know how they're going to perform play. So, I like that idea.
Yeah, but it's a good point on Hewitt. He's the sort of guy that has been given a range of roles at times at the Swans, but when he is in the guts, he's very reliable. He's sort of a no-frills kind of footballer. He's going to be strong at the contest all the time, give you a fair share of tackles. So whether his ceiling is enough to warrant, keeping him all year, but I do feel like he's going to be a pretty safe selection, particularly early without Walsh. So I think he'll be pretty popular. And, how are you looking towards the midfield? I think so much of the talk at the moment is about people trying to fit in Matty Rowell. Is he someone that you're considering him, or you're keeping it a bit more guns and rookies? How are you shaping up?
Yeah, I think I don't think you can ignore Matt Rowell's amount of contested possessions he's getting at the moment. So I only watch the first half, but seems like, he was like more exploding out of stoppages a bit more in, I think it was 2020. Not seeing a whole lot of that, but he's getting in and under. We know he was a superstar at juniors, and we're kind of seeing him perform unbelievably at the level again. So full preseason, and a lot of these guys, like your Jared Berry, like Butters, like Dunkley, these guys, really struggled at the end of last year, but we know what they're capable of. And as soon as they got a injury-free full preseason, they've been tearing up the preseason now. So, and I think that's the case with Rowell, because poor guy's had such a rough run. I'm trying to fit Rowell. He's in my team at the moment. I didn't expect to pick him, but I almost felt like I think he can go 100 plus for 340k. I think that's a good deal. So that's where the George Hewitt picks come in, because where are you taking this? Where are you getting the money? Getting a 200k rookie up to Rowell, for example. Like, where are you pulling the money from? And that's kind of where Hewitt comes into play.
Yeah.
I think I'll pick Matt Rowell. So I didn't expect to, but the ceiling. Is he one that you've tried to fit in, or are you staying strong with your guns and rookies?
I've definitely flirted with the idea. I've really tried to keep the midfield pretty simple in terms of three big dogs, Lockie Neal, and then just round it out with, the heap of really reliable rookies that we have, all those top draft picks. But like you say, I'm a Cats man. Watching Raul just tear it up on Monday night, like you say, he's hard to ignore. At that price, we know what he can do when he's fit. So he did look so damn good. Him and Miller, just even Anderson to an extent, they really did look pretty impressive. So at the moment, he isn't in my team, but that's not to say depending if maybe if I need to do a little bit of a restructure, he could slide his way into the team at some stage. He put forward a very nice case, didn't he? He looked so good.
Yeah, impressed.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference? I was gonna say, do you have a preference for the top guys? So I think we got Steele, McRae, Oliver, probably Took, probably the big four. We've heard Titch has a bit of groin soreness, so I think that rules him out for me. Even a Parish, if you like that. Do you prefer? Who's your top? Say, who's your top three out of these three?
Yeah.
Or is there anyone else you prefer?
I must say, like at the moment, probably in the past, I've probably tried to skimp on a couple of those guys, and maybe just hope that I might pick them up at a better price at some stage in the year, and that just hasn't worked. So this year I've gone, look, you just got to go with these guns. So at the moment, I've got McRae, I've got Steele, and I've got Oliver, and it's not to sort of disrespect Took, but you just can't fit them all. So that's the way I'm rolling. Petrarca was in my team for a reasonable period of the preseason. I love watching him, and I do feel like he's a good chance to get back beyond that 115 mark. But yeah, I think I just did a bit of a rearrange and might have gone up to Steele. But yeah, how about yourself? There are a few people that are even entertaining it, say an Andy Brayshaw, that type of thing. So I think it's hard to go past all the big guys, isn't it?
Yeah, so Brayshaw's something about Fremantle midfielders and low time on ground. His time on ground is 77 on the weekend, so that ruled him out for me. You want that a bit higher than that. So, so McRae for me is locked for sure. I think he's got a lot of good early games as well. So chuck the VC on him for the first few weeks, and then the other three, Took, Oliver, Steele. I'm only going to run another one of these blokes because I'm just concerned about rookies in defense. So it means I've gone down to Rao basically, and then use that 300k to say get George Stewart in defense. So it'll be Steele or Took. I think the reason why I'm passing on Oliver now is because he has the lowest floor. Like you don't really see the other three get tagged, whereas Oliver might get tagged, but still, you don't want to be on the other end of him scoring 200 and not having him. That's but again, like you can't pick all four. Ideally, you pick three, but if rookies force their hand, I'll probably go down to two. So I think it's McRae and then Steele and then Took, but we'll see.
Yeah, and it is one of those things where you'd love all three, but when push comes to shove and you're looking for an extra 60k, 80k, you feel like you're not losing too much by going down to, maybe the next level of midfield premium, and then it can help out quite a bit elsewhere, particularly with these rookies, trying to get a rookie at about 180, 200, I feel like we're pinching pennies a little bit, like we definitely need that extra bit of coin. So I will see how that pans out. It'll be quite interesting, and I'll probably think the ruck is something that I've settled on it now. I've kept it nice and simple, but a couple of weeks ago, I was really keen to see how Draper went, see how Witts went. But in the end, I've just kept it simple again. I haven't always set and forget, and it's cost me in the past. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're sort of approaching the ruck department this year.
Yeah. So I got a comment on YouTube the other day asking about, maybe saving money gone down to somebody else, like a Priest, for example. My response was, the worst experience I've ever had in SuperCoach is using trades in the ruck line. simply put, because I started Naismith a few years ago, and that went very pear-shaped. Lucky for Pitternet is all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so keeping it simple, Gawn, Grundy. So I don't like Darcy's durability, but I think he'll score the most. So that, for me, Gawn, Grundy, I think I'm okay with. Gawn seems to be playing a bit more down back instead of forwards. He's took a lot of intercepts over the past 2 games, so hopefully that can bump him up a little bit. But yeah, kind of expecting 120 from Grundy and maybe 115, 116 from Gawn, something like that. And hopefully that means 0 trades in the ruck line. I have thought about, don't shoot me down here, but Tim English is gone from forward ruck to pure ruck now. It's sort of taking intercepts behind play. I don't have the balls to do it because he plays Gawn and Jackson in round 1, which I'm sure he has PTSD from the grand final.
Yeah.
So I don't think I can sit through that. But he's the only one. If I desperately needed 200k, I could do it. I think it's probably a 1% chance. So I'm set on Gawn and Grundy, and then rest easy. How are you thinking about the ruck line? So is it Gawn and Grundy for you?
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, and probably a month or so ago, I was real keen on Darcy. You know, I know he had a couple of niggles, but I thought, look, if he plays pracky games and that, I know he played, but just I agree with you. The durability, he's only had that one massive year. It just seems like the safest bet to go with our old mates, Gawn and Grundy. And yeah, Timmy English, he's an old friend of mine. I thought he was going to break out a couple of years ago, and that was the old fateful story. I think he scored 260s in the first 2 rounds. I traded him out, and then he caught fire. It must have been 2 years ago, whenever that year was where he scored 200.
Oh, no.
And here I was having booted him. I mean, he just had a bit of a 5-week hot patch, but the timing of it was causing me quite the headache. But, yeah, it's funny how we can sort of talk about Bruce for months and months, and then in the end it doesn't even matter. The bloke goes and gets suspended. But Witts, he did look good when he was out there. I don't know. If you want to go mid-price, he's probably your guy, but he's missed a lot of footy and sort of entering the season off sort of half a pracky game. I'd be kicking myself if it went pear-shaped, so I'm just going to, keep it simple, I think.
Yeah, off the ACL, I think you're just much safer to set and forget this year.
Yeah, and look, you know, if for whatever reason it doesn't work out, you're falling down with the rest of the competition. You know, it's not like you're losing out or anything. And I guess we can move on to the forward line, which has had its own interesting aspects as well, you know, with quite a few, I guess, top-end rookies or moving into your 200,000s, raising their hand up for selection. But what's taken your fancy there? I think a lot of people are, you know, building it around Dunkley and Butters, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think when you're trying to look for cash, I got Dunkley and Butters there. They're not the place to find cash for me, so they can stay there. And then we got a few interesting options. So I think the forward line, a lot of the options like Taron Thomas didn't really get a whole lot of midfield time, and Degoe played like a dusty role rather than the bit of the seagull midfielder role that he did last year. So that rules him out for me. So a few of these options I thought we might get. Like Zach Bailey, he's a star, but he's better forward than mid. So yeah, a lot of these options have fallen over, and the only one that took my fancy was Isaac Heaney. And I'm a big fan of Isaac because he is the most talented player in the forward line in the entire league, basically. So he's unbelievable to watch. And then Horst, he did it again. He put him in the forward line after playing him, I don't know, 60-70% midfield time. It might be because Papley's out. But he can still score okay in the forward line, which is the good news, unlike 99% of the other forwards. So we'll I'm thinking about Isaac Heaney, and then it's more looking at your 200k blokes. But any other 450k players take your fancy in the midfield? In the forward line?
Yeah, I love Isaac Heaney. He's caused me pain over the journey, but I'm totally with you there, mate. I just wish Tommy Papley's hamstring just held on for dear life, because I think I was all ready to go. But I've got a little bit of cold feet, and I've sort of been tossing and turning and rearranging that setup with him, without him. I do think Dustin Martin, really looks appealing. A little bit under the odds. I can't see myself picking him, but I understand why people are. At the moment, I am opting to go more down you got Cornelio, you got Brody, you've got Rochelle, sort of filling it out with some of those guys. And then, like we've mentioned, it might be, do I go an extra premium in the forward line? Do I top it up down back? Do I go Matty Rowell in the midfield? All those things we've discussed. So at the moment, even someone like Tristan Cherry sort of bobbed up late as well. So there's a bit to think about, but I definitely think I'll snap up a couple of those low end sort of 200k fellas.
Yeah. I think just quickly on Heaney, I think a lot of them have jumped off now, but I think I might end up with him. It just depends on rookies that get named. He's like kind of the one moving part. But these 200k guys, a lot of them are interesting. So I think my favorite is Tristan Jerry. I don't know how to say it. I remember he scored 100 plus a few years ago in the preseason. He scored well in the VFL. So I think, North, surely they can't put Goldie full-time ruck anymore. It's not his job to. They're trying to develop they're trying to rebuild. They can't be doing that anymore. So it sounds like he's had a great preseason. He's locked in for me for sure. I just want to see him in the ruck. When it says R and then followers. I want to see Jerry's name and then Goldie in the forward line or on the bench or something, and then I'll be happy. So I'm sounds like they're going to use him first ruck. So he's locked in for me. And I didn't really think it until I saw the game. I was like, hang on, we got a first ruck here for 200k. So he looked good. So he's snapped him up for sure. And then it's, you got your McGovern, your Bill Brody. I have a few issues around them. I don't know if Brody's best 22 or not. Sounds like Longmuir likes what he brings, but also I was listening to the post-game press conference of Freo versus, I can't remember who they played, and didn't really want to guarantee him best 22, but I guess he's never going to say that now. He don't want to give the players a pass right now anyway that are fringe. So it's a very tough one because we know he can score, but I think they got young Erasmus in the waffle at the moment, and I think he's a star. I think he'll be pressing for Brody's spot. So it's very tough, I think.
It's a real good point, mate, because I really wanted to see how it all looked with Fife in there too. In the practice game, and he missed. So I think if Brody's playing, great option. But he will need to play well to keep his spot. It just makes you a little bit nervous, doesn't it? You're picking a guy that probably has to put his best foot forward early in the year just to hold on to the spot. If he does, awesome. We've got a good pick. But equally, he could be out after round 2 or 3, which would be an absolute headache. I think Cam Rayner was pretty red hot early, but we just didn't get another look at him. And I think people have maybe just cooled off a bit on him there. But just on Cherry, I think he's one of the most interesting ones for me at the moment. Where's Callum Coleman-Jones at? Do you have a bit of a read on that? Because I feel like he's maybe had a couple of niggles and whatnot. Because I agree. I think Goldstein's he's got to take a bit of a step back. And if Cherry's got his hands on that number 1 ruck spot, he could be an absolute steal.
Yeah. So not to have a go at the young guy, but CCJ can't ruck at all. I remember watching him play for Richmond. I think they were covering, it was him and Scholl sharing the ruck. And it was literally the worst ruck performance I'd ever seen. He can't jump. So he's got good hands up forward. I don't understand how, unless he's dramatically improved over the preseason, plus he's had a few niggles, I don't see how anyone could possibly think he's ahead of Jerry or Goldstein. So I'm not the coach, though. They know more than I do, of course. So that's my view anyway. So I'm not actually worried about that.
Yeah, good. Look, that's good to hear because I didn't get a chance to watch North's game, and I just hadn't got around to looking into that as much. So he's probably only come onto my radar, the last couple of days. So that's quite interesting.
Do you have any thoughts on Mitch McGovern?
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan, to be fair. nicer position for scoring, of course. I mean, he'll have those days where he does get on a few intercept marks and has a nice day, but I just think there's some better options around. I just feel like he's an inconsistent player by nature, and I just don't see that changing dramatically. It'd be a different question if he was, maybe 50, 70K cheaper. I know it's not much, but I probably prefer Brody, Cherry. Honestly, I think if Hugo Ralph Smith can find a spot in that back six of the Tigers, I think he could have a fairly cruisy roll down back. It's just a matter of can he fit in there. Vlaston and Grimes, sort of a bit of a cloud. Is he on the fringe still? So I'm not as keen on McGovern, but we do have a few options to consider down there, don't we?
Yeah. I think McGovern can score because he got a few kick-ins as well, and he's always been a good reader of the play and mark. So I think he can score well. I do worry about his hamstrings. He's done many of those.
True.
And yeah, again, just consistency by nature with him. So never, ever been consistent in his entire career. I guess it's a bit easier to be consistent when you're in the back line and ball's coming to you rather than trying to get to the ball. So it's an interesting one. I don't think I'll do it, though. So
Yeah. Yeah, he should have some improvement, that's for sure. But, yeah, I can't see myself going with him. But, I mean, what are we, sort of 6 or 7 days out by the time we upload this one? What are you is there any position in particular that you're logging onto your team and you're like, I'm just not sure about that? Is there anything you're really waiting on, like rookies aside, or are you feeling pretty okay at the moment?
just having a quick suss of the team. So I'm quite happy with the rookies.
Yeah.
I have Gibcus in my defense bench, who I'm not happy with at all.
Yeah.
Apart from happy with all the rookies. It's just there's literally no one else. And I think Mitch Hinge looks good for the Crows, but he's not training this week. He's hurt his AC joint during the game. So that's got me very worried. Because he was in my team until that happened. And I'm a Crows man, I do rate him. So that was disappointing. But looking at the team, pretty happy. I'm not happy that I think I'm going to pick between Steele and Took. I really want both. I'm just going to have to cop it every week and just be patient and wait for a 110 game instead of a 140 game. So that's I'm not too happy with. And I think this is not final, but I have Chapman at D5. And I just feel like maybe I've learnt nothing here putting him at D5 playing SuperCoach, but I just have I don't know where to find the money to get him up to a premium without ruining another line. So he's kind of just a placeholder, and then if we get like a Josh Sin, we can fix that up straight away, put him down to Josh Sin, and then to maybe turn Heaney into like a mid premium or something, and that would solve a lot of issues for me. So yeah, it just kind of depends on the rookie. So probably mid defense bench D5, and then picking between Took and Steele is giving me a little bit of a headache at the moment. So
yeah,
other than that, like it's impossible to be 100% happy because you're always going to miss blokes you want, but hopefully I don't have to pick a speculative pick like Chapman. But yeah, I'm not too sure at the moment. We'll see over the next few days. And yeah, what about yourself? Are you really happy with your team at the moment? Have you still fiddling around with it? Anything you're happy or not happy with?
Yeah, I'll just whip it up now. And look, I'm spewing about Hinge as well because I was watching the Crows game the other day, and it looked like he had a real nice, consistent role, sort of on the wing and floating back with the defence at times. So let's hope that he is still a chance for round one, but I guess we'll find out in the coming days. Probably for me, the focus points are just filling out those guys we talked about, Brody, Cherry, just trying to find out those top end rookies and maybe do I go, Sicily versus Short? I would prefer Short, but it's, could I spend that 100K elsewhere? Do I chuck another 50K onto it with George Hewitt? Can I spend that, 150K elsewhere? Because I think just looking at it, there might be a scenario where if I drop Sicily down to Hewitt, I could probably muster getting Rowell into the midfield with a little bit of a tinkering with a couple of rookies. So they're probably a couple of things to think about. But yeah, at the moment, just very keen to see what the teams produce for us next week, and hopefully a couple of positive surprises, maybe a couple of rookies we don't expect, but fingers crossed. Yeah.
It's got to that point, just fingers crossed, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get a few.
Yeah, 100%. And like,
Yeah,
sorry, you go on,
I
mate.
was going to say, last year, after the last Amy game or the first round of practice game, so there was a whole nother practice set of games to go. I did not touch my team for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like that period from round 1 to before 2 weeks, I did not touch my team once, except for the last day where I made a structure adjustment because of rookies. This year it's get home from work and bang on the computer,
Yeah.
figure it out, and it's not good. It's not good
Yeah.
at all because I just can't find something I'm happy with, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I really want to just, I don't know, sit in front of it for 4 hours and just settle with it, so I don't have to touch it for another week. Just get it over with, and I don't know, things just keep popping up. I don't know. But yeah. So,
I totally know what you mean. It's stupid, isn't it? But like sometimes you just want to log off that computer and just be happy with it, you know, even if it's just for the night. Just go to bed. You're like, yep, if round 1 started tomorrow, I'd be a happy man. But lately, it's just been difficult to have confidence in certain players, whether it's job security or position. I feel like
yeah.
there's a few more question marks. So, a few head scratching moments there, mate. But we'll see how we go. And I mean, you've had some really nice performances, particularly over the last couple of years. I mean, what are your hopes for ranking wise? Like, what's your goal? And got any golden rules, mate, that you sort of follow each and every year? Because you definitely had some nice results lately.
Done okay. I think we were speaking about it before. I start well and then forget my fundamentals during the year, get a bit greedy, try to get ahead early, and then you bite off more than you can chew. And you end up with blokes like Josh Kelly who have burnt you twice in the past, but here you are with him again, bringing in Toby Green, etc. So I think for starting team, I think it's very important to have confidence levels in all the rookies because they'll make you money. Because I think if the difference between picking a good one and a bad one might be 150k in 8 weeks' time. That's massive. So that makes a big difference. So that's probably the thing I'm most happy with at the moment, and I've put a real focus on. And then it's trying your best not to go unproven as much as you can. So I think, for example, I have Heaney and Hewitt at the moment, and while I guess they're a little bit speculative, Heaney's averaged in the 90s as a forward, Hewitt's gone 96 as a defender. So while they're a little bit speculative, there is proven performances and a full preseason. So provenness is a very, very big deal for me. It's very hard to put in breakout players because it's very hard to tell. So provenness is probably be my number one for fundamentals, and then durability I'm pretty big on. Full preseason, no full preseason, get out my team. Unfortunately, that has burnt me in the past because I remember, I think it was last year, Tom Stewart had a very minor quad issue in January, and I was like, nah, I'll just pick the guy who didn't had a full preseason, and minor quad's not going to do anything in January. So being at the two extreme like that, and then Tom Stewart was probably, I think if he played the last 2 games, might have been the best defender outside of like a Mills and Laird or something like that. So yeah, maybe learnt my lesson there, not going too overboard. So yeah, probably golden main rules are I want to see a full preseason, but maybe minor stuff not too bad. And then the provenness, have the numbers backed up with the player. So I think that's something I try and put a big emphasis on. So that way, I know, for example, I'm starting Heaney in his roles, doesn't look good, and he scores 60. I know that his scoring is going to be volatile, so I don't have to stress too much because I know that he's a mid-90s guy up forward. So stuff like that. But of course, Heaney has other issues with his body and stuff like that, so that's a whole other story. But the confidence level and the proven performance. What about yourself? Anything you live by? Your main rules.
I mean, I've probably got well away from them, particularly the last couple of years. I'm definitely trying to get back to just keeping it simple, locking in more of those big guns where I can, and just trying to avoid, like you said, those sort of breakout contenders, which are, sexy to talk about. But, I know last year Hayden Young really hurt me. Jordan Clark really hurt me. I was super optimistic on Sam Draper, and that just destroyed me. Jai Caldwell, that was injury based, but that really hurt me. So, look, there's probably room for, and this year in particular, we're low on rookies. There's probably room for a few more of those options, but I'm doing my best to just try and go with as many bankable guys as I can. Like you touched on, a guy that's proven, is so important, because there's nothing worse than 6 rounds in, everyone's making upgrades, and you're still patching up the mistakes that you're trying to catch up. You're gone then. So just trying to stay with the pack. And I'll be interested to get your thoughts on the 35 trades. Like, I know we've got the reasons for it, but it's a lot. I can see people really burning them. And I know we've got so many, but I still think they're going to be damn important. So I know personally, I reckon perfect world, no COVID, no potential isolation. I reckon somewhere in the mid-20s would be perfect for trades. I think that really is a good test for coaches out there. Bit of a skill to manage your trades, and but 35, it's plenty, isn't it?
Yeah. I've always liked. I used to play Dream Team back in the day, so it feels a bit more like that now. I know AFL Fantasy now, unlimited trades. I actually don't mind that format. I guess a lot of the traditionalists are like, you can't be serious, more trades. Like, we used to be like 24. It used to be even less than that many years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was probably before when I was playing, but many years ago now. So, look, I don't mind the 35 trades. How am I going to use them? I don't think my starting team's going to change too much because of the 35 trades, if at all.
Yeah.
I think the boosts are probably important. So the way I see using the boosts is, for me, like, when you get an injury during the year, you have, as you said before, you have to patch up a mistake instead of doing an upgrade. So the idea for me with the boosts is try and save them until we can start upgrading, and then use the boosts to upgrade to get ahead. So if you use a boost early to get an extra rookie that you might have missed in, well, potentially now later down the track, the people who have saved those boosts, they can now get an advantage trying to get ahead, because they can try and get that extra downgrade in to do the upgrade, whereas you're one boost down, so you have one less opportunity to get ahead with your team. So that's it's the first year we're doing this. We could look back in a year and say, well, I think we played that wrong. We needed to be a bit more conservative with these trades. But my view at the moment is, as soon as we start upgrading, I don't know, round 6, round 7, use 3 as many times as you can in a row, and try and get, obviously the rookies need to be present, but try and upgrade your team as quick as possible. But also at the same time, not trying to compromise on going for people who you're not going to be top of their position. So that's how I would like to use them. In theory, I think it sounds good. In practice, I'm sure we'll have a better idea what's best to do next year. So
What
do you think of it? Firstly, are you happy with the 35 trades? And secondly, has that changed the way you think, or how do you think you'll use them, if at all, any differently to last year?
Yeah, once upon a time, right, when I first started, 20 trades. We had 20
really?
trades. Yeah. And then it went up to 24. And then I think, that's when we sort of, might have been 28, and it sort of built up. I don't mind the 35 this year, just because we got those extra trades, because it's just going to be hard to tell when you could lose a player at the drop of the hat. Life's pretty unpredictable, as we know, but I would prefer it to sit somewhere in the mid to high 20s. I think trading efficiently, conserving it, knowing the right moves to pull and when, is a real talent and a real art. So I think these days it's so easy to find information before the bounce of the ball, with all the social media and that. So it's a bit easy to pick a starting squad. I think what's still challenging is trading. So I think that can sometimes separate the ones that, know what they're doing and maybe don't. But, for this year, I'm fine with it. And I like the trade boost a lot. I think I'm sure you can relate. There's many a time where you go, oh, I wish I could make this upgrade, but I want to make 2 downgrades as well. There's 2 guys on the bubble or vice versa. So I think that'll be a helpful tool and a good little tactic. So I'm really looking forward to that, to be honest. So it'll be quite interesting to see. We'll learn a bit, like you said, in a couple of months. We'll have a bit better of an idea of how to go about it. But I quite like it. Yeah, it gives you a bit more control, that's for sure.
Yeah. Sure. So I got a question for you. One from the Discord. Where's the main place you go? Where's the go-to hotspot down at Geelong?
Yeah, look, don't mind a little session from time to time. I think probably I do like a bit of a Lambie session, a bit of a nightclub scene.
Oh, really?
The inn
Got
as
some
well
moves
is,
on
yeah. Probably the feedback would be no, I would suggest.
Okay.
I think I enjoy getting out and about and having a bit of fun with the fellas. But we got a big Labor Day party this weekend. Got the public holiday on Monday, so I got a bit of a party at the inn, which is a pretty good spot around Geelong. So that should be a pretty big party as well, big event. So I'm looking forward to that. But how about yourself, mate? When Jords isn't sort of diving into the SuperCoach dissection, what takes your fancy? What do you like doing?
Oh, I was a pretty big tennis player. Only at club level, but I loved my tennis. That was probably my main thing.
Yeah, me too.
Used to play. You used to play?
Yeah, absolutely. I love a bit of a hit. Yeah, I didn't actually realise you were into tennis.
Oh,
there you go.
loved it. Injuries and whatnot have hindered me a little bit, so I don't play competitive anymore, but more just have a hit with an old teammate and whatnot. So love my tennis. Not big on the nightclubs anymore. You haven't ever pulled the subscriber count at the nightclub? To anyone? Nothing like that?
No, nothing like that, mate. But you occasionally get a couple of people. You occasionally get people coming up and they'll recognise you or something, but that's always kind of funny. But yeah, look, I think my nightclub days are getting close to being done and dusted, but I'm still hanging in there. But no, I didn't realise you were a tennis player. There you go. What are you, a bit of a serve volley man, or loading up on the big forehand, or?
Mate, you playing me. We're hanging at the baseline for 20 balls in a row. That's
grinding.
My coach never taught me to volley, and when I switched coaches, they're like, "Why don't you know how to volley?" I'm like, "We just did forehands, backhands, and serves the whole time."
Yeah.
So my endurance was not too bad. So I just grind all day. We're with a team of 4, and I was always the last one to finish the game.
Yeah.
So love my tennis. Other than that, I'm sales and merchandising. That's my job at work. So that's a pretty simple job. I went to uni, did a marketing degree, didn't really do much with it, but happy where I'm at the moment. So
yeah, that's good.
SuperCoach season's sort of taken over now, but yeah, see the boys every now and then. That's pretty much my life summed up, really.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's a bit about myself. So
yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I've just started studying youth work actually, so it's been a busy start to the year. Like smashing out a few videos, trying to find a bit of time to work and study as well. Sort of been a bit of a change up to what I've normally done. So, but that's so far so good. Quite enjoying it, but it will be nice in a way when round 1 does start. Not only get some footy, but I'm sure you're the same. You get a bit of a breather with the videos, and it becomes a bit more structured, the videos and how they go about it from a week-to-week basis. So do you get to a few games? I'm sure you do.
Not really, to be honest. I go maybe twice a year, I reckon.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Family members, Adelaide Oval members, and whenever they can't go, Jordan, give us a call. Would you like a ticket? I'll take a free ticket. No worries.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I obviously love the Crows. Want to see them do well. Get a little bit upset when they lose. Not too badly, but last few years has been a bit annoying. But I don't mind going to the footy. So, but usually when I go, I only get 2 tickets. I'll just bring one mate over or anything like that. So, maybe once or twice a year. I used to be a member, but for a while I was working weekends. I just impossible to do. So, How about you? Get down
That's
to
fair.
Cardinia often?
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, me, the old man, my sister, and a good mate of mine. We've gone to the footy for a while. So I try to get to, again, like I'm still working some weekends, so you can't always get to them, but I definitely try to get to 8 to 12 games a year. I've been missing it so much, like the last couple of years. We've been missing out on so much footy. So to start the year, me and the boys, we're going a bit of a Melbourne trip. We're going to go to Richmond, Carlton. Then we got Collingwood, St Kilda, and then of course the Geelong Essendon game. So we've been starved of a bit of footy, but gonna dive right back into it. So yeah, I'm super keen, mate. Yeah.
I'm heading to Melbourne in round 2. I've never been to the MCG, so
Wow. Who are you going to see?
I think the Crows and Collingwood. So that'll be good. So, can I just ask, how do you find the MCG? Is it the best stadium you've been to? Is it? How do you feel about MCG?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, particularly if you've got more than 70,000, it's amazing. Like, I mean, I've been pretty lucky. Like, been a member for a while, and Dad's super passionate, and that's kind of been passed on to me. So I've been lucky to. I was at 2007 when the Cats won. I was also at 2008. I was a shattered young man at the stage, but being at the G with a big crowd at a big game, honestly, it's hard to top. That's why I can't wait for Richmond Carlton. That should surely be like 80,000.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Adelaide Oval though, I haven't been there. Oh, sorry, I've been there once. I went to a showdown.
Oh, really?
Probably the last showdown that I could have gone to with all the restrictions and stuff. We did a little road trip, and that had a pretty damn good atmosphere too. That was pumping.
Oh yeah, it gets real loud at Adelaide Oval for sure. I don't think it'll be. I've been to Marvel. It's not my favourite stadium, but Adelaide Oval. I just feel like a bit more enclosed stadium like Optus or MCG will be a bit better, I reckon. But you go on the hill if that's your thing. So I do like Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, you'll love it, mate. It'll be a great experience because it is. We do like calling it the home of football, so it is. Hopefully, get a good crowd there, and it's a ripper spot. So, was there anything else you wanted to touch on, mate? Or I mean, we've been chatting away for a while here, mate. So we've done all right.
Yeah.
But
I feel like the last 15 minutes has been off-camera talk, but that's all right. It's all right. Worked out.
Getting set up. No, it's good.
No. Who's your biggest lock for the year? That would be my last question. Apart from, say, a Grundy or Cornelio.
Yeah, probably. I mean, aside from the obvious, I've been red hot on Butters for ages. That's probably become less and less unique as it's gone on. So I'm really keen on him, and I must probably say, look, I am a really big Lockie Whitfield fan. I really do think he's a lock. I know his body hasn't always been captain reliable, but I love watching him play. I think that I don't feel like he's injury prone in terms of like soft tissue. He's copped a lot of impact injuries and maybe been a bit unlucky at times. So I've been big on him. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm pretty keen to see him. I think he can average, potentially definitely high 90s and nudge that 100 mark, I reckon. How about yourself?
I feel like this is an obvious one, but I think Dunkley will go. I definitely think Dunkley's a lock. I think everyone can see that, but I think he can push 130 this year.
Yeah, boom.
With a full preseason. Yeah, he's done it before. He was 130 at the start of last year.
Yeah.
He was 128, but got injured, so probably would have been 130 if he didn't get injured early in the fourth or whenever it was. So probably big fan of Dunkley. And I think probably Jaden Shaw. I think he's really safe. Just watching him in the preseason, the amount they used him at defense. Jeez, I know it was a preseason game, but it was always him. If it wasn't him taking the kick out taker was hitting it to him. So I think he's good for 100 plus this year. So I think he's a free pick. Yeah,
I noticed that too when I went down to the practice game, Geelong and Richmond. It just, every exit out of the backline was just about Jaden Short involved in some regard. So, yeah, so I might have to sneak him into the side, like I mentioned before. But no, nice one, mate. I reckon we might wrap it up there. It's been awesome to chat, actually. It's been a while in the making. So, yeah, thanks for getting in touch and setting this one up. So I appreciate that. And, yeah, I'm sure we'll talk again soon, no doubt.
Definitely enjoyed this chat. I think it took me a while to get back to your message on YouTube. Sorry about that.
No, that's
But
fine.
we made it happen, so all good, I guess. So it
Yeah,
worked out.
definitely. No,
Yeah,
good,
good
mate.
to chat to you. And good to hear you taking a few things as well, because a lot still we're tossing up between a few things and running out of time. So yeah, good to get to know you a bit as well. Mate. So it's good to
Yeah,
chat.
definitely. Nah, thanks, mate. Good luck for the year ahead, and yeah, look forward to doing another video with you soon. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, sounds good.